Hello everybody and welcome to a video here on the Heezy Game Media YouTube channel. I'm Heezy and I'm excited this week to talk about something that I love. And that's games from the Nintendo 64. Before we get into these games, we're going to talk about the 5 games that I personally would want remade for the Switch. And I love my Switch. Honestly, the Switch is probably my favorite system of all time. I probably play my Switch more than, substantially more than my Xbox at this point. I take my Switch with me everywhere. It is easily my favorite system, and I think Nintendo has a really good opportunity with the Switch, just kind of to really get into the remake of retro games. And I want to talk about that today. Before we do, though, if you want to talk about video games and you want to talk about Magic the Gathering, Smash Bros., just things in nerd culture in general, head on over to our Discord. The link will be in the description. It's free. Everybody can join. And it's a really fun place to kind of just hang out, talk about Star Wars, Magic, just nerd stuff. And really loving group of people so far. Smaller Discord right now, which I know a lot of people really enjoy. And, I just want to have a group of people that we can talk and have fun with. So check it out. Also, there's been a link for the Patreon for a long time. I haven't changed anything or updated anything for the Patreon for Heezy Game Media, or promoted it really because of COVID. I'm hoping to change that here in the near future. No pressure to anybody to join that. This channel is still working on becoming a better channel, and I know that there's a lot that I need to do to improve as a creator. But I did want to just kind of say that there are changes coming. So if you go to patreon.com/heezymedia, I just want to know that while it's alive, the benefits will change, things like that, and we'll get benefits in for the Discord and stuff like that. So thank you everybody so much for being here. Let's get into this week's video. So let's talk really quickly about remasters, remakes, and reboots. So this is just how I see this. And if you see it differently, please leave a comment. Let me know. I'm happy to have a discussion about this because I think these are awesome. But some of the games on my list actually have remasters already. But I don't know that I would say that any of them have a true remake. While I would say that one of them probably has a reboot for the series, but not a reboot from the exact other game. Although one of them is a reboot, so it's kind of weird to say. So, but we'll get into that. But for me, I'm kind of focusing on remakes today. These are games. So for me, a remake is a game that you take this thing, and you give it not just a new paint of coat, which I think in a lot of cases that remaster does, and it's not really a reboot. It could be a reboot in some of these cases, but a reboot means you're starting a new series. You're starting from zero, and a remake is I'm taking this source material for me, and I am just enhancing it, but also complete from the ground up as far as from a technical standpoint. And so for all of these, I would like a complete remake. I think that all of these would benefit from it quite a bit, and we'll kind of talk about why. So let's get into the list. So coming in at number 5, we have one of my favorite Nintendo 64 games of all time, Jet Force Gemini. This is an adventure 3D shooter from Rare, and honestly, I just thought it was a masterpiece of its time. I remember going to my friend's house to play this game for hours until one day I finally went and bought it for myself. And seeing this game for a remake for the Switch makes a ton of sense to me. It's a perfect fit for handheld mode, in docked mode. I think that as the story progresses, you get these new characters. You could add stuff to that as you unlock new characters. You can reach new areas around you. You go back and forth, things like that. And with the new engines upgraded and kind of an expansion on the story, I think that you could really remake this and possibly reboot this as a franchise for the Switch, and get something that a lot of people really loved. The Switch doesn't have a lot of shooters, and I think this one fits really well onto the Switch, and into Nintendo's IP really well. I know that Rare, though, does, I think, they might do mostly stuff with Xbox right now. I could be wrong though. That though it could just be specific franchises, but I do think that Jet Force Gemini would be great on the Switch. I did try and replay this before this video, um, and man, were those controls bad. They were so bad. This game needs a remake for better controls specifically, uh, and it could be something really amazing. So, you might have never played this game before. If you do, I actually recommend not emulating it. I would just straight up try and find it on the Nintendo 64. You'll probably enjoy your experience a little bit better in its original setting. But I think that this game, what would be perfect as far as giving you a great multiplayer game for the Switch, as far as giving you cross-platform. They could release it on, the new Xbox and the Switch at the same time, as well as in the Microsoft Store. So I think that this game fits a lot into kind of what I would look for. You have options as far as multiplayer. You could do skins. I mean, there's so much that this game could do and could really give the Switch something different that it doesn't really have right now, in my opinion. Coming in at number 4, Donkey Kong 64. Donkey Kong 64, in my opinion, is peak Donkey Kong. It blends so much of what you love from Donkey Kong Country, but it really adds this amazing platform adventure game that you kind of got from the likes of Mario 64. And I just think that I would really really enjoy a remake of this, and I think that as I've replayed it recently, I am replaying it right now. I don't know that it lives up to as much as I would want it to. There's a lot of nostalgia. I loved this game, but I think that this game, could benefit a lot from being on the Switch. This game was large and in charge. It had everything it needed to succeed, and with some new controls and some new content, you could really add some fan favorites to this game. You could add Dixie Kong. You could add Donkey Kong Jr. You could add whole new islands and worlds just to get these new characters to really expand this world for the Switch. And I think people would love it. I mean, the updated graphics, you get to see. I mean, we all know what Donkey Kong and Diddy Kong look like on Smash, and I think that we could really see this amazing remake for this game. New controls, new abilities. You could change the current worlds to match the new abilities of those new characters. This game has a lot that it could bring to the Switch, and I think that it would be an amazing one for a remake. I'm already getting excited thinking about it, and it's not even real. I'm just saying the things that I want. So this one's definitely up there for me. Coming in at number 3, I have one that uh, Star Wars Rogue Squadron. This game, I don't know that I would add too much to, as I would want it to fall kind of under a remaster or a reboot for me. I think that the story that follows Luke through Rogue Squadron in canon would be really cool. So I don't know that I would take the exact same story, as we have new canon Star Wars content that I would want to pull from, and would want to add to. I also think that this could come along with like a book series or a TV show. I know that they're doing Star Wars Squadrons, and it could be that that is kind of the future of this type of game. But I do think that following Luke through this time in Star Wars history would be really good for the franchise. It takes this beloved game and puts it into handheld mode for you. And it's possible it just needs a remaster and not a remake, but I tried to play this one as well, and once again, I just think that controls have gotten so much better from the Nintendo 64 that a new engine is needed and things like that to really make this game, as good as it could be. I mean, and also just the number of ships that we have available to us and things like that. The amount of content that we could add to a game like this is astounding. When you look at how far Star Wars has come since Star Wars Rogue Squadron came out. And if you've never played Star Wars Rogue Squadron before, it's a game that takes place you can play in mostly in third person. I think most people play in as a fighter. You play as Luke Skywalker in his X-wing along with the rest of Rogue Squadron. And I think that adding this game to the Switch in a remake form will help give Star Wars fans more things that they've loved in the past. And maybe a new story is totally fine. I think that we all accept that the Rogue Squadron story is no longer canon the way that it was. But Rogue Squadron is something that people love, and hearing that story told in a new way, similar to what they did with the Thrawn series, would be really good. And I think that Nintendo specifically, what they did with Rogue Squadron was quite amazing with LucasArts. So I think that the other thing is that I wouldn't say that this has to happen. It's possible that Squadrons will just fill this role, and we'll all love it. It'll be amazing. It'll be everything else Star Wars fans are looking for, and it will be great. But we'll have to wait and see on that. Until then, I think that this is number 3 on my list. Number 2, I have Zelda Ocarina of Time. So this actually has a remaster, as I would call it, for the 3DS. That's actually how I play Zelda right now. I play both this and Majora's Mask on my 3DS as I need a new cord for my 64. But I would say this: as one of the best games of all time, you might not want to mess with it, right? Uh, if you do, you'll piss people off. But I think that if you remade this game with the love and respect that it deserves, I think that you could make a lot of people happy, and you could give them a new experience with with some pretty major upgrades. You look at Final Fantasy VII and what the response that fan base gave to that game, and I think that you could do that with Ocarina of Time, and I think it'd be dope. There you could get some pretty amazing new graphics, new mechanics. Expand that world a little bit, add some better fast travel. I think that everyone loves Ocarina of Time, and it could be a huge, huge boon. And a huge selling point, right? I mean, we have Breath of the Wild 2 coming out. People are really excited about it. But letting those Breath of the Wild fans, those net new Zelda fans, experience one of the greatest games of all time uh, in a way that will resonate with them a little bit better than something maybe like the Nintendo 64 3DS version, I think can be really powerful for your franchise. And I personally, I don't know what I would add to this game. I think that it would have to be done with this really loving and reverent approach. But I think that if done right, it could match that kind of respect that we have for that game. So this definitely comes in at number 2 for me, um, and I think it'd be amazing. Number 1, this one is the big one, Star Fox 64. So the 3DS version doesn't count as a remake for me. I'm looking for a complete remake with better controls, more options, and much more gameplay. Star Fox 64 is one of my personal favorite games of all time. It does so much with so little. I almost wish that this could be like a free path game where you can go to every single level that you want, unlock uh, anything you want, replay the levels, try and get your highest scores, things like that. And then also unlock more team members, whether it's Crystal or Bill, things like that. I believe that if done right, Nintendo could make an amazing multiplayer experience with this game, with versions that are more based around the vehicles. You could have a tank mode, you could have a submarine mode, you could have a mode. I I I believe that I don't know if it was a mod or it might have been in the original. I don't play multiplayer a lot because I usually play this game by myself. But where you could play as like Peppy the Hare and stuff like that. And I think that you could really unlock more options for multiplayer mode for this to play Switch Online. You could, I mean, you'd need a good online service, but I think it would be a slam dunk and could really revive this franchise if you went back to its greatest point. I know that there have been other reboots of this franchise. This game itself, if you look at Star Fox 64, it's basically a remaster of Star Fox. But I do think that, if you look at people's love for Star Fox, for Smash, for Star Fox 64, I mean, they love it. And giving it, this really amazing upgrade to its most beloved game, and seriously in my top 5 favorite games of all time would be really amazing. And once again, I'm just getting excited talking about something that I really want. But I mean, just think about a world in which you can explore the entire galaxy there, and unlock different characters to fly as, things like that. I mean, I have Starlink behind me. I haven't even finished this game, but I just love playing it. Like, I love being in an R-wing. It's so fun for me and something that I really enjoy. So I think that's it. That wraps up the top 5 games that I would want remakes for from the Nintendo 64 for the Switch. You'll notice I didn't mention Mario 64. I do believe we're probably getting that, and that's why I didn't make my list. But if it's not on the list, it would definitely be on here. I might actually take Star Wars Rogue Squadron off, um, and move things around if that were the case. But these are my top 5. Leave a comment. Let me know what 5 you would like to be remade. Get these whole new versions of these games that maybe you have some nostalgia for, that you want to play with your kids, that you want to play with your girlfriend or your boyfriend or your partner. I would love to hear it. Leave a comment. Let me know. Thank you, everybody, so much for watching the video this week. Don't forget to check out the Discord. I'd love to hear it in there in the comments. Like and sub. Don't forget to check out the podcast that I do every week with the West. That you can find us on Anchor and anywhere you can get your podcast. Just look for Need to Nerd. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys all next week with another video on the Heezy Game Media YouTube channel.